Okay, welcome in. Had a very busy Monday night in the NHL, as I believe there were a total of 11 games. My tablet is going to be dead here pretty soon, so I'm going to do my best to fly through these games, and if I have enough battery, I will see if I can show the standings as of Tuesday morning. So the first game took place in Tampa Bay. You can see it was a very high-scoring game, to say the least, a one-sided affair. In the first period, Nick Perbix would get his second goal of the season unassisted, 5:41 of the opening frame. Jake Gensel would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his eighth goal of the season, a power play goal from Hagel and Kucherov, 7:46 of the first period. Ivan, I love that name by the way, would cut the lead to 2-1, getting his fourth goal of the season from Nichushkin and Manson, 8:56 of the first period. Less than 2 minutes after that, Nikita Kucherov would increase the lead to 2 goals, getting his 12th of the season, assisted by Hagel. At that point, it was 3-1 in favor of Tampa Bay. Just over 3 minutes after that, Luke Glendening would get his first goal as a member of the Lightning, a short-handed one, assisted by Hagel. He had a few assists in this matchup, to say the least. 13:15 of the opening period, giving the Lightning a 4-1 lead. With just 14 seconds to go, Anthony Cirelli would increase the lead to 5-1, getting his ninth of the year from Stranak and Hagel, increasing the lead to 5-1 after 20 minutes of play. 9:38 in the second, Braden Point would increase the lead to 6-1, getting his 12th goal of the season, a power play goal from Hagel and Kucherov. Seems like Hagel's assisted on every goal so far. Ivan will get his second goal of the game, his fifth of the season, unassisted, a minute and 8 seconds into the third, making it 6-2 at that point. Jake Gensel will then get his second goal of the game, his ninth of the year from Perbix, 3:09 of the third period, increasing the lead to 7-2. And Michael Esimont would score about a minute and a half after that, getting his first goal of the season, assisted by Jirgons, whatever. 4:44 of the third period, making it 8-2, and that would be the final score. I saw a clip about how the Georgiev, I believe, the goaltender for the Avalanche, just absolutely lost it. I mean, it's bad enough you lose, but when you lose by 6 goals, it sure takes a little bit of a blow to your self-esteem and confidence. So he wasn't too happy. And then as the Avs players were going off into the dressing room in the intermission, I believe one of the players snapped their stick in half. They were just not having a very good night, to say the least. Okay, the next matchup took place in Florida as the Panthers played host to the Washington Capitals. Exactly 7 minutes into the first period, Nikola would get his first goal of the year from Bennett and Verhaeghe. Lars Eller, since being acquired from the Penguins, got his first goal as a member of the Capitals in his second stint with Washington, assisted by Chichurkin and Lapierre, 17:49 of the first period. There's no scoring in the second. We have to jump ahead to the third. Jacob Chichurkin would break the tie, getting his sixth goal of the season, a power play goal from Strome and Tom Wilson, just a minute and 18 seconds into the third period. Lars Eller would then add an empty netter, increasing the lead to 4-1, I believe. No, sorry, making it 3-1 at that point. For Eller, that'd be his second goal of the game, his sixth of the season, assisted by Dubois and Chichurkin, and that goal happened with a minute and 28 seconds to go. Florida would pull their goalie again. This time, Ivan Mirshichenko would get his first goal of the season, assisted by Matt Roy, and that goal happened with 23 seconds to go. So the Capitals had a 2-1 lead. The Panthers pulled their goalie, let in 2 empty net goals, so the final score would be 4-1 in favor of Washington. And I got to say, they're doing pretty well considering that they're without Ovechkin. Okay, the next matchup took place in New Jersey as the Devils played host to the Nashville Predators. 5:08 in the first period, Philip Forsberg would get the Predators on the board, getting his ninth goal of the season unassisted. Eric Holla would tie the game up, getting his fifth goal of the season from Kovacevic and Mercer, 11:29 of the first frame. Nico Hischier would break the tie in the second, getting his 11th goal of the year from Meyer and Luke Hughes, 3:52 of the middle frame. Nico Hischier would score again, getting his second goal of the game, his 12th of the season, a power play goal unassisted halfway through the game. He would then get a third goal, obviously a hat trick, his 13th of the season, assisted by Neeson, 16:57 of the second period. So we got all 3 goals in the second period. Zachary Leroux would cut the lead to 4-2, For LaRue, I believe that'd be his second goal of the season, assisted by Yossi. The Preds were down by 2. They would pull their goalie. Unfortunately, it did not pan out as Justin Dowling would get the empty net goal, his first goal of the season from Kovacevic and Dillon. And that goal happened with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go on the clock. So the Devils would win by a final score of 5-2. Another 5-2 game. This time it was the team that nobody expected would win. The Blues were in New York to take on the Rangers. Will Cooley would kick things off in the first, getting his 8th goal of the season from Kakko and Jones, 8:47 of the opening period. Jordan Kyrou would tie the game up at 1, getting his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Shen, 11:45 of the first. Zach Bolduc would break the tie in the second, getting his first goal of the season, assisted by Faxa and Holloway, 4.5 minutes into the middle frame. Will Cooley would get his second goal of the game, tying it up at 2. That would be his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Zibanejad and Berard, 7:20 of the middle frame. Braden Shen would break the tie in the third, getting his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Paranovich, 1 minute and 12 seconds into the third period. For Shen, that'd be his 4th goal of the season. Zach Bolduc would increase the lead to 4-2, getting his 2nd goal of the season from Parayko and Holloway, 8:25 of the third period. And then late in the third, the former Ranger, Pavel Buchnevich, would get an empty net goal, his 6th of the season, assisted by Sundqvist and Ryan Sutter. And that goal happened with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go on the clock. So the Blues came away with a 5-2 road win over the New York Rangers. The Philadelphia Flyers played host to the Vegas Golden Knights. In the first period, Morgan Frost would open up the scoring, getting his 2nd goal of the year, assisted by Ristolainen and Owen Tippett, 8:51 of the first period. The captain, Sean Couturier, would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 5th goal of the season, assisted by Konechny, 12:07 of the first frame. Just 28 seconds into the second period, Emil Andre would get his first goal, I believe, in the National Hockey League, if I'm not mistaken, assist by Hathaway and Scott Lawton, 28 seconds into the middle frame. Jack Eichel would finally get the Vegas Golden Knights on the board. For Eichel, that'd be his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Barbashev, 7:42 of the second period. Speaking of Barbashev, they basically just helped each other out with goals. He'd get his 10th of the year, assisted by Eichel, 11:32 of the second period, cutting the lead to 3-2. Matvei Michkov would increase the lead to 4-2 for the Flyers, getting his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Frost, 13:18 of the second period. Pavel Dorofeyev would get a power play goal, cutting the lead to 4-3. For Pavel, that'd be his 11th goal of the season, assisted by Theodore and Thomas Hertl. And that goal happened with 1 minute and 50 seconds to go in the second period. Tanner Pearson would tie the game up at 4 in the third, getting his 5th goal of the season, assisted by Hanifin and Haig, 11:55 of the third period. There would be no scoring in the overtime frame. We would need a shootout to decide the winner, and Jack Eichel, who got the first goal for the Vegas Golden Knights in this game, would end up getting the game-winning goal in the shootout, giving the Vegas Golden Knights a 5-4 comeback victory. The Carolina Hurricanes played host to the Dallas Stars. Now, I was a little skeptical about how the Hurricanes would do because Anderson and Kochetkov are both out, and it sucks because I have both those guys in my fantasy, so I have no choice but to bench them. And then right after the puck drop, I ended up drafting Spencer Martin, who was the starting goalie in this one. But unfortunately, because the game already started, I wasn't able to actually start him. And it's too bad because that could have helped out a little bit, to say the least. Another guy I have on my fantasy team was Tyler Seguin, so I'm pretty content about this, at least. He would open up the scoring just 18 seconds into the first period, getting his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Marchment and Duchesne. Seth Jarvis, I believe, was out. Now he is back, getting his 5th goal of the season, a shorthanded marker, assisted by Sebastian Aho, 6:36 of the first frame. Thomas Hurley would break the tie, 10:15 in the opening period, getting his 2nd goal of the season, assisted by Ben and Heiskanen. Mason Marchment would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Sagan and Matt Duchesne, 7:13 of the second period. In the third, Sebastian Aho would cut the lead to 3-2, getting his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Jarvis and Orlov a minute and 10 seconds into the third frame. 3:43 in third, Brent Burns would get his first goal of the year, assisted by Stahl and Martinook, tying the game up at 3. Shane Gothenberg, another guy I have in my fantasy league, he got his 5th goal of the season, breaking the tie. For Gothenberg, that'd be his 5th goal of the year, a power play marker, assisted by Nietzsche and Sebastian Aho, 8:09 of the third period. Miro Heiskanen would tie the game up with just over 5 minutes remaining. For Miro, that'd be his 4th goal of the season, assisted by Wyatt Johnston. With 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go, the Hurricanes would break the tie. For Nietzsche, that'd be his 12th goal of the year, a power play marker, assisted by Shane Gothenberg and Seth Jarvis. The Stars would pull their goalie, but unfortunately it did not pan out, as Andrei Svechnikov would increase the lead to 6-4, getting his 8th goal of the year, assisted by Aho and Slavin. So the Hurricanes would win a wild game, 6-4. The Ottawa Senators played host to the Calgary Flames. In the first period, Jonathan Huberdeau would open up the scoring, getting his 7th goal of the season, a power play goal from Coronado and Zari, 14:32 of the opening frame. With just under 3 minutes to go, Adam Gaudette would tie the game up at 1. For Gaudette, that'd be his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Gregg and Giroux, 17:05 of the first frame. In the second, Drake Batherson would put the Sens on top, getting his 9th goal of the season, a power play goal from Tkachuk and Sanderson, 3:18 of the second period. Cole Reinhardt would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his first goal of the year, or maybe first career goal, either way, assisted by Gregg and Sanderson, 13:17 of the second period. Igor Sharangovich would cut the lead to 3-2, getting his 5th goal of the season with just under 5 minutes to go in the second period. In the third period, Brady Tkachuk would increase the lead to 4-2. For Tkachuk, that'd be his 11th goal of the season, a power play goal from Batherson and Tim Stützle, a minute and 14 seconds into the third period. With 39 seconds to go, Nazem Kadri would cut the lead to 4-3, getting his 6th goal of the season, assisted by Pospisil and Michael Backlund. But unfortunately, the Flames were not able to mount a comeback, so the Sens would win this game by a final score of 4-3. Alrighty, the next matchup took place on Long Island as the Islanders played host to the Detroit Red Wings. The captain, Anders Lee, would kick things off in the first, getting his 8th goal of the year from Pajot and Dobson, 4:35 of the opening frame. Moritz Seider would tie the game up at 1. For Seider, that'd be his 2nd goal of the season, assisted by Kopp and Carey Fisher. 13:25 of the first period. Kyle Palmieri would break the tie in the second, getting his 10th goal of the season from Nelson and George, 7:42 of the second frame. Dylan Larkin would tie the game up at 2. For Larkin, that'd be his 12th goal of the season, assisted by Hall and Johansson, 11:20 of the third period. Lucas Raymond would break the tie. For Raymond, that'd be his 5th goal of the season from Edvinsson and Seider, 13:53 of the third period. The Islanders pulled their goalie, but unfortunately they weren't able to tie it. And Simon Edvinsson would get the the empty net goal, his 3rd of the year, with just 3 seconds remaining on the clock. So the Red Wings would go into the Red Wings would go into New York, and win by a score of 4-2. All right, now we're off to Minnesota as the Wild played host to the Winnipeg Jets. In the first period, Jake Middleton would open up the scoring for Minnesota. That would be his 4th goal of the year from Johansson and Faber, 8:37 of the opening frame. Iafallo would tie the game up over halfway through that period. For Iafallo, that'd be his 3rd goal of the year, assisted by Kupari. In the second period, Nino Niederreiter would break the tie. For Niederreiter, that'd be his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Pionk and Namestnikov, 12:05 of the second frame. In the third period, Iafallo would get his 2nd goal of the game, his 4th of the season, a power play goal from Pionk and Perfetti, 13:20 of the third period. The Wild were down by 2 goals late in the third. They tried to pull their goalie, but unfortunately, Adam Lowry would get the empty net goal. For Lowry, that'd be his 5th goal of the season from Connor and Scheifele, and that goal happened with 1 minute and 3 seconds to go on the clock. So the Jets would go into Minnesota and get a big 2 points over their division rival. I believe I have 2 more games to go. Yep. Okay, so the next game took place, I should say, in Anaheim as the Ducks played host to the Seattle Kraken. Shane Wright, I kind of forgot about that guy, I'm not going to lie, would get a second goal of the season from Bjorkstrand and Evans, 7:12 of the opening period, giving the Kraken a early 1-0 lead. Trevor Zegras would tie the game up at 1 with 4 minutes to go. For Zegras, that'd be his 3rd goal of the season, assisted by Terry and Dumoulin. Frank Materno would break the tie in the second, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Zellweger and Terry, 6:17 of the second period. Andre Burakovsky would get his 1st goal of the year, assisted by McCann and Evans, 46 seconds into the 3rd period. Brandon Montour, I have him on my fantasy, would end up getting the game-winning goal, his 7th of the season, assisted by Wright, 1 minute and 10 seconds into the 3rd period, and that's where it would stand at the end of regulation, and Seattle would win 3-2. Uh-oh, my screen's going dark. I gotta make this quick. The Sharks played host to the Kings. In the 1st period, Nico Sturm would get his 4th goal of the year from Ferraro and Astrakov, 1 minute and 47 seconds into the 1st. Brant Clark would tie the game up at 1. That'd be his 3rd goal of the year from Kempe and Kopitar, 2:32 of the 2nd period. Speaking of Kopitar, he'd get on the goal scorer sheet himself, getting his 6th goal of the season from Kempe and Fogle, 8:58 of the middle frame. Fabian Zetterlund would tie the game up at 2. For Zetterlund, that'd be his 9th goal of the season, assisted by Eklund and Celebrini, and that goal happened with 6 minutes to go on the clock. In the 3rd, Celebrini would break the tie, getting his 5th goal of the season from Thurn and Ruda, 1 minute and 3 seconds into the 3rd period. Timothy Liljegren would get his 2nd goal of the season, assisted by Smith, 2:14 of the 3rd, making it 4-2 at that point for San Jose. Celebrini would get his 2nd goal of the game in the 3rd, his 6th of the year, a power play goal from Eklund and Smith, 3:43 of the 3rd, increasing the lead to 5-2. Alexander Wenberg would get a power play goal, his 6th of the season, assisted by Wallman, 10:46 of the 3rd, increasing the lead to 6-2. And then Luke Kunin would score with 1 minute and 21 seconds to go, his 5th of the season, unassisted. Just because my tablet is going dead, I'm not going to have enough time to go through the standings, but when I have my video uploaded tomorrow, I will have the standings for all of you that tune in. Okay, so I apologize for my screen going dark at the end, but unfortunately my battery is going dead. But as always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.